had carved out a reputation as one of the hardest boys in his year, but because of their upbringing and the stigma attached to living in a children's home, the boys always felt far more comfortable in one another's company. "You look like one of the Jackson 5 with that clobber on," Smithy laughed. Dressed in a silky orange shirt with a huge collar and beige flared trousers, Benny grinned. "Fuck you. I is the bee's knees. You watch the girls flock my way. I got the moves." The lads chuckled as Benny danced to the sultry sound of George McRae's Rock Your Baby. Benny's dad was from Jamaica, and Benny had never met him. Tommy reckoned he must have been a cool dude, though. Benny's mother was an ugly fat cow, so the lad must have inherited his looks, charm and slick moves from elsewhere. He was popular with the girls, too. At the last couple of discos, he'd ended up snogging at least 4. Seeing Laura Higgins, one of the best-looking girls in his year, staring at him, Tommy turned his back on her. He knew he wasn't a bad-looking lad, because he'd been asked out by loads of girls, but he always declined. He'd never even kissed a girl, not properly anyway. The thought of getting close to anyone after what that perv had done to him literally filled him with dread. So he chose to concentrate instead on his boxing and football, and having a laugh with his mates. Dumbo nudged Tommy. "Laura Higgins keeps looking at me." Rather than inform his pal he had more chance of flying to the moon than copping off with Laura Higgins, Tommy smiled. "Yep, I think you're in there, pal." The rest of the evening passed in a happy blur. Benny stole the show by limbo dancing to Typically Tropical's Barbados, which earned him a snog with 2 girls. Smithy pulled a munter, who gave him a wank outside. Dumbo got a slap around the face when he pinched Laura Higgins' bum, and Tommy spent most of the evening trying to avoid Laura Higgins and another girl with ginger hair who kept following him around. "I got that chick's phone number." Benny grinned as they ambled back towards the home. "Which one?" Smithy asked. "The blonde with the big knockers. Her dad hates blacks, apparently, so I can't pick her up from her house. I'm going to take her to the pictures next weekend, though. We'll sit in the back row, obviously." Benny chuckled. Tommy took the packet of mints out of his pocket and ordered the lads to suck them. The effects of the alcohol had now worn off, but it was better to be safe than sorry. Ray would be waiting for them to arrive home. He always was. "Shit! Look, I've got cum all down me strides," Smithy announced. "I'm surprised you even got hard on with that monster, let alone managed to come," Benny chuckled. "Yeah. She weren't a looker, was she?" Dumbo said. "But I wish I could have got a wank. All I got was a smack round the clock." The jovial banter continued for the rest of the short journey back to Shitlands. They rarely referred to their home as Maylands anymore. It was their own private joke. "I can't believe you didn't ask Laura Higgins to dance at the end. I'd have been in there like a rat up a drain pipe if she'd been drooling over me all night. She's hotter than a fucking gas cooker," Smithy announced, playfully grabbing his best pal in a headlock. He and Tommy had been inseparable ever since Tommy had arrived at Maylands. Nobody beforehand had had the balls to stand up to that arsehole Wayne Bradley, but Tommy had. Smithy had been extremely impressed by Tommy's bravery, though he'd only been tiny at the time, and as a result he'd lost the fight. Tommy had still given Bradley a run for his money and a shiner of a black eye. "Well, why didn't you ask her to dance?" Smithy repeated. "'Cause he's a bum boy," Benny joked. Unable to stop himself, Tommy grabbed hold of Benny by the throat and rammed him up against a nearby wall. None of his pals knew his story. All Tommy had disclosed was that his mum had died, his sister had been sent away, and he'd then found out his dad wasn't his real dad, and his nan wasn't his real nan. Therefore he wasn't wanted. "What the fuck, Tommy? I'm only messing with you!" Benny exclaimed, his eyes bulging. Dumbo's eyes welled up. His pals were his world, and he hated them fighting. Both his mother and father had been violent alcoholics and junkies, and seeing Tommy grabbing Benny by the throat and pinning him against the wall brought back awful memories of his terrible childhood. Smithy grabbed Tommy by the arm. "Let's not argue, mate. We've all had a great night. It'd be such a shame to spoil it." Instead of punching Benny, Tommy punched the wall. "Don't ever say shit like that to me again, okay? I ain't no bum boy. I just don't like slags, and that's what Laura Higgins is. I can tell. My mum was a